Hi there, welcome to Victim to Victor, the podcast dedicated to empowering abuse survivors and inspiring healing, hope, and positive change. I'm Verma, a published author, and in every episode, I'll sit down with a guest and embark on an insightful conversation about trauma, as well as practical strategies to start the healing process. So let's get started. I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, Sylvester, all the way from Tennessee. It's so lovely to have you on my show. Finally, we meet. How are you doing today?
Yes, I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on this show.
Oh, it's an absolute honor. And I'm really, I feel privileged to have you on as an author, an army veteran, mental health advocate, as well as an international speaker. I'm really intrigued to learn more about your journey and, what it was that made you who you are today. And I know that, you have had a lot of adversity to overcome. And I just think it would be great for you to share, maybe what life was like for you from childhood up until when you started the army.
Yes, very much so. So I always say I come from humble beginnings. They say adversity is the best teacher.
Yeah.
So I grew up in a single parent home, gang and drug infested neighborhood. For me, I felt like I was a complete failure. Never had that male figure, predominant figure in my life. Grew up with a lot of identity issues, rejection, just trying to continue to fit in with a lot of people in society, running the streets, doing drugs, breaking into homes, experiencing so many things that you figure a child wouldn't have to experience at those age. But going through life during that time frame was very challenging because I was always dealing with the crisis of trying to find my purpose, trying to find my why, who I was, and what was I placed on this earth to do. So in school, I was always a knucklehead, as what they call it over here. I failed multiple times in school. I failed the 4th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, 10th grade, 12th grade. I graduated in summer school. So what I felt like I needed to do in order to find my purpose or to become a man was to join the military. So even that was challenging initially, just due to the fact that prior to enlisting in the military, you have to take a test. And I failed the test for the Navy, the Marines, and also the Air Force. And the only one that I passed was the Army.
Okay.
When I passed that test for the Army, of course, I went into basic training. But the thing about the military is they tear you down to build you back up.
Right.
And what they don't realize is that a lot of people that join the military are looking for a way out. They're looking for a sense of purpose. And they already have dealt with ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. This is why you have so many people that experience suicide in the military outside of what they already dealt with while they're in the military. So due to the fact of my childhood experiences, I never had an opportunity to know what it is to deal with emotions. I was always keeping them bottled up just due to the fact that, what they perceive a man to be. You don't show any signs of weakness. You're not the type of person. You're a wimp.
Yeah.
You do all these things. You just have this stigma on you already. So of course you have to be stern, you have to be hard, you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
Going through the motions of the military, I experienced being cheated on by my fiance, who eventually got pregnant by somebody else. So of course, I'm at a devastating moment in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm not able to express my emotions dealing with that. I have to continue to push forward. And we get orders to deploy to Iraq. So this was in 2001 when it initially started out. So going through that whole situation of deployment, of course, this is a new experience. I was only 19 years old. wasn't
Wow.
even, at that age of,
Child.
yeah, not even at that age of being able to purchase alcohol just yet,
No, in
So,
America.
yeah. So just dealing with that, going over there, after that, it just became a normal rotation back to back, one after another, deploying on a constant basis. And what I
Wow.
realized in going over there in combat is that combat doesn't care.
Right.
Combat doesn't care if you're a mother or a father. Combat doesn't care if you're a sister or brother. Combat
Right.
doesn't care what your religion is, what your race is. It's just all that goes on while you're over there. All you know is that you're just trying to survive. You're
Yeah.
trying to stay alive. You're trying to keep pushing forward so you can come back home to your family and your loved ones. And the
Yeah.
thing about the military is that once you come back home, we have a saying that we train as we fight. So all you're doing is gearing right back up to go back and do the same thing all over again. They teach you
Oh,
about first aid. They teach you about marksmanship. They teach you about hand-to-hand combat. Everything that you need to survive in a hazardous environment. Now, if you
right.
think about this, now we was over there deploying 12 months rotations over there. So you think about how long that is to be in a hazardous environment. Your life is on the line. You're in a threatening situation on a constant basis. That's more than 39 million seconds. So,
Wow.
the average person doesn't spend that much time or have any type of experience dealing with that type of situation. So you
No.
just think about these soldiers who are constantly going over here, fighting for their country, and then coming back. It's hard to decipher between possibility and probability. So
Mm.
you start to encounter these situations where you don't like certain noises, or you start to have bad remembrance of situation that you experienced while you were over there, because we lost so many soldiers, sisters and brothers in arms. You can be on a convoy one day receiving small arms fire, get hit by IED, improvised explosive device, and then go back out on those same roads the following day.
Yeah.
You can be at the defect, the dining facility, eating with a close friend, a battle buddy, and then be going to their memorial service the following week. See, these are the things that soldiers deal
Mm.
with on a constant basis. So you
Yeah.
can just sit there and imagine how they are unable to process these situations because they don't have the opportunity or the time to do it.
No,
All they're
not at all.
expected to do is ruck up and drive on. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
in my transition from the military, I just wanted to find some way to help those out there who are dealing with these situations and help them to win the battle within, because all the experiences that we might face starts in the mind first.
Yeah.
The situations, what we feed our brains is just as important as what we feed our
Mm.
bodies.
Yeah.
And I knew one of the biggest ways that we can do this is by having or teaching psychological resilience.
Yeah.
You know, Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. And I
Yeah.
just want to continue to help others become a tennis ball and not an egg.
Wow, I love that. And I think you mentioned a real important point there about the soldiers, the fact that they're in a constant fight or flight state. And it's no wonder that they all suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder if they're in that constant state of adrenaline shock.
Right.
It's no wonder. It makes a lot of sense. And you spent 21 years in the military service.
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time. And I
Yes.
salute you.
Thank
You're a
you. Thank you so
hero.
much.
Oh, thank you so much for obviously sharing that story and for sharing your childhood as well. And I think it makes a lot of sense as to, where you've come from to kind of where you are today. But I just want to go more into, the kind of mental health that you may have struggled, like
Mhm.
anxiety, depression. So when did that start to come along? Because you were so young, 19 when you went into the army.
Absolutely. So I started to really bring awareness to my mental health when I was, I would say, probably about 15 years in the military already.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I got
Yeah.
to a point where I was contemplating retirement, and I was like, "Hey, I only got 5 years left, roughly."
Mm,
I was like, it's time to start focusing on my transition. And part of your transition is going through a lot of organizations, whether it be physical or doctors and everything else to see where your conditions are.
Yeah.
And when I started going through the motions of dealing with those things, I went to behavioral health. And of course, once they go through their checklist of seeing like some of the things you experienced and went through, they realize like, hey, uh, have you ever thought about like some of the things that you experienced throughout the time span that you've been in the military? And I said no. But when I had a conversation with my wife, she started to explain to me some of the things that, as far as my personality is in changing, how I react to certain things, how I don't like to be in large crowds. Like I can't go to a supermarket, or I can't sit in a restaurant with my back facing towards the door. I
Right.
can't,
Okay.
I start to have a strong sense of anxiety. That was one time where we went to the grocery store, and it was so like packed. This was like during the pandemic, how everything was going scarce.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to get everything off the shelves.
Yeah.
And
Toilet roll.
yeah. And I was in there, and she had left me with the shopping cart, and she went down the aisle to go grab something. I forgot what it was. But
Okay.
while she was gone, and I was just seeing all these people around me, I started to feel a strong sense of anxiety. And I was like scratching
Wow.
my head, wondering what's the next thing I'm going to do, whether it was just to go run away and try to hide somewhere. I didn't know exactly what I had to do. And this woman, she was walking past me, and she was like, "Are you all right? Are you okay?" And that's when I knew then that, hey, I need to really seek, more guidance dealing with my
Yeah.
mental health. And when I did, they put me on medication, Zoloft,
Okay.
and some other ones. But
Mm.
just going through the motion and just continuing to bring awareness to my family, it's been beneficial for me. But it sucked just being in that state of
Yeah.
always wondering who got your six and what's going on around you.
Wow. So, and was it therapy that you sought? Was that what kind of helped you through in the end?
Yes, therapy helped me out to an extent, but once the pandemic hit, again, it started to become more telephonic,
Right.
because everybody was still trying to figure out. But it got kind of cookie cutting, if I can say.
Yeah.
They start to narrow down. It started to become repetitive. So
Oh,
I
okay.
knew I had to figure out something on my own in order
Right.
to not only just deal with what I was going through when I wasn't in therapy, but just around my household alone, because I
Mm.
control the temperature in my household. I'm
Oh,
more
okay.
like the thermostat and not the thermometer. That's what I
Yeah.
wanted to be like. So the thermostat controls the temperature, and my
Wow.
my wife will always tell me I would bring a dark cloud around the whole house. Nobody wanted to interact with me. My kids, they didn't want to. They always
Wow.
knew, hey, give daddy his space. So I just wanted to turn into the thermostat, so I know when to um, have those opportunities to myself and not
Mm.
just spread it across the whole house.
Whew, wow. And again, you mentioned about being prescribed, and I suppose they're antidepressants or
Oh
anti-anxiety
yes, yes.
drugs. How effective were those?
Uh, I'll be honest with the antidepressants. They was more of what's the word? What's the terminology for it? They
I
put me.
suppose I suppose that they numb out the the brain, right? They kind of,
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, they stop like the pain,
Yeah,
but then yeah, again, it's debatable, isn't it, as to how effective they really are, and whether they really are the solution to our issues, or whether we actually
right,
do need to face our issues head on. And that's
right.
exactly what therapy does for us. So yeah, I mean, because from the traumatic childhood that you had, did you kind of have more trauma during the military service? I suppose you did. If
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. I had way more trauma with
God,
dealing with those things. It was like I was a erupting volcano, honestly.
wow, okay,
Just dealing with all those things, never taking the time to really uh, release my emotions, express
okay,
to anyone what I was dealing with. I
yeah,
felt it was a sign of vulnerability, and
mm,
I never wanted to, show that side of me. I felt like it was a
mm,
weak, so
yeah,
I never always kept it inside. And I
mm,
got to a point one time where I even erupted like a volcano and just
wow,
went off on everybody around me. And it was just like what are you doing? You know, once I gained that self-awareness, like that was real, like ignorant, stupid of you, because those people didn't have nothing to do with the situation that you were dealing with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it does. And it comes out in the strangest ways. Like you probably just see a trigger and then boosh, that's
Right.
it. You know, all your emotions come out. And I suppose this is a common issue amongst men in general. Obviously, we know in the army it's a common issue because you're kind of trained, aren't you, to just carry on, you know,
Yeah.
just, you know,
Carry on.
yeah. So you don't have no time to show your emotions because, you know, it's like, it's not safe, it's dangerous. So you just kind of taught to plow on. And I know it's a common issue, you know, where you're all suppressed, but do you think it's also a common issue amongst the male population in general?
Absolutely. I think it started there first. It starts there first.
Okay.
I don't think no men in general have really felt the opportunity to really be vulnerable. We're always taught to be a provider and a protector. We always taught to be strong. We taught to be masculine, and we always taught to, you know, not crying is a sign of weakness, or anything. Expressing yourself, being open and vulnerable to those things. You're, as a man, you know, you anytime that you do any of those things, there's a possibility you could be taken advantage of. That's how it's seen.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, it goes to show like what it's not a safe place for men to open up. And so, from your experience now and from what you're doing, do you feel that there's enough support out there for veterans and men?
I do think there's enough support for veterans. I do think they can be a little more, I think they can have a lot more detail as far as the veterans that they do serve. I know they are pretty short-staffed due to a lot of things that are transpiring, but at the same
Right.
time, I think they have a lot of resources in order to help
Okay.
veterans with their transition and dealing with certain things as far as PTSD and depression.
Okay. How about in the general population
Mm.
for men?
I think that's something that's still being worked on currently. I think
Right.
as the years have transpired, I think there are a lot more men that are starting to open up
Good.
about their situations and dealing with expressing their emotions. Do I think
Yeah.
there are enough? No, I don't. I think
Mm,
some men still have that alpha male mentality where it's one way, no other way. You have to do it like this. This is what a man really is, and that you can't be emotional at any state.
what do you feel needs to change?
I totally feel like we just have to have a strong understanding that the men that we are raising now
Yeah.
currently, like I have 3 boys,
Oh,
and
wow.
all of my sons I have 2 teenagers and a 9-year-old. So I got a
Okay.
16, 14, and a 9-year-old, all boys.
Wow.
And I don't want them to experience a lot of the things that I dealt with,
Mm,
because I was always told like what other people say doesn't matter. Toughen up, stop
yeah.
crying, wimps cry, men don't cry, and all these things. I embrace my kids. I give them hugs. I say, son, you
Nice.
gave all you got. I let them know that like sometimes it's okay to cry. You
Yeah.
know, these are what I mean. If it wasn't meant for you to cry, you wouldn't be able to do it. Just plain and
Yeah.
simple. So your tears are meant for you to express your emotions, to release
Mm,
that stress that you're dealing with, to release that pain that you're going through.
mm.
So don't be afraid to express those things. So I just continue to reassure them as far as a lot of the emotion that they deal with. I don't tell them to hide any of that.
No, that's good. Yeah. It's such an old tradition now, I feel. I feel that, you know, a lot of parents now are becoming a lot more awake and,
Right.
you know, aware of this. And, you know, you see it all over, just they're so empathic towards their children now and understanding. And I just find like, you know, because I've got a 3-year-old myself, and I love it when he says to me that he's not happy, you know, and I think that's
Right.
a start. It's like, yes,
Right.
tell me why you're not happy. You know, let's explore this rather than
Right.
just saying, shut up, you know, because it we were taught, weren't we, to just shut up and just be present. That's it.
Right.
Just, you
Right.
know, no, seen and not heard. That was the saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, that's not the case anymore. They have to be heard.
Right.
Totally. Wow, but I'm really interested in finding out more about you now, about the books that you've written, and because you're on your fourth book, right?
Yes, I'm currently on my fourth book. It's called From Combat to Comeback. And
Nice.
it basically talks about conquering the battles of adversity.
Mm.
Think about adversity is just not in Afghanistan or Iraq. It's in our homes. It's in our
Okay.
minds. It's in our emotions. It's in our spirituality.
Yeah.
So we deal with adversity on a whole nother level outside of just being in the physical presence. And I
Mm.
just wanted to give people instructions on and strategies and tips on how they can conquer these battles that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, because everybody faces adversity.
Yeah,
The only thing about
absolutely.
it is, how would you prevail over that adversity? Would you let it get the best of you? I
Okay.
want everybody to be able to take their power back and fulfill the purpose that they've been given.
Wow, that is spectacular. What a powerful book. And so, what is it that's inspiring you? Is it from your own life events?
Absolutely. I think
Mm.
for me, that's when you really find out your purpose. I had
Yeah,
something that I call the 5 Ps. And you
yeah,
know, when you deal with pain, you truly be able to you have to go through the process in order to heal.
yeah,
And when you go through the process of healing, that's when you really find your purpose. You
yeah,
find your purpose, and then next thing you know, you have your power, the
yeah.
power to help other people. So the five
Mm.
is what pushed me in the realm of just continuing to write these guides, I want to call them, to
Right.
help people to overcome the battles that they face on a day-to-day basis, because it's something that's a continuous and it's never going to go away.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how about your other three books? What are they
So
called?
So my other 3 books, I have 2 leadership books,
Nice.
just due
Okay.
to just on my fact of being in the military, because I
Yeah.
believe that in organizations, a lot of the managers that they have in their organizations are just put in the position without giving any kind of guidance.
Yeah.
So I wrote the book called The Compass, Leader Navigates Change, because
Okay.
the compass provides you direction. The leader
Yeah.
navigates the change in order to make it happen. So the compass is a guide for all upcoming leaders or
Wow.
new managers to help them know exactly what their starting base is to get their organization or team from point A to
Yeah.
point B. Uh,
Oh, love that. Powerful. Mm.
Thank you. A Quick Cure to Successful Leadership is my first book. And it was just talking about my experiences in the military as far as a leader, what helped me to be able to become the leader that I was while in the military.
Yeah.
And just, 7 attributes that I continue to use in my day-to-day life. It's not only helped me professionally, but personally as well. And
Okay.
I wrote this book just speaking about my childhood, how I never thought I had what it took in order to be a leader, how I had those limited beliefs, how I
Mm.
had that sense of fear, perfectionism throughout the time of being in the military, and just to help people to know that I might have been this high ranking individual, but I
Yeah.
didn't start out that way. That
No.
I'm capable, if I'm capable of doing it, you're capable of doing it too. And
Wow.
then
Yeah.
my book, Winning the Battle Within, like I stated earlier, is mostly focusing on psychological resilience, just due
Okay.
to the fact that I think everybody needs resilience. I think it's a hot
Mm.
topic that everybody should try to invest in, because
Yeah.
everybody is not born with resilience.
No.
You have some people with stronger traits than others, but it's a skill that can be learned, just like leadership or finance. And I just wanted
Okay.
to provide them with some type of manual, because the biggest enemy that you'll ever face in life is your mind.
Wow. No way. Oh my God. And that's the first time I've heard that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, because I know that, you've done a lot of courses on, like, you've done your master resilience training, and you've also got a degree of science in organizational leadership. So I love that. I love that you've invested so much in this field of study. And it'll be great to kind of get some insight about resilience and, for example, what my listeners could do from today to try and develop their resilience.
Absolutely. So, just for me, from my standpoint, there's only one person you can actually control, and that's yourself.
Yourself,
You
yeah.
can't control you can't control the people around you. You can't
Yeah.
control the environment that you're in sometimes. You can't control the weather. Like
Mm.
you can't control the coronavirus. It happened, right?
Yeah,
But at the same
Absolutely.
time,
Yeah.
you can control yourself. And three things that you can control is your mindset, your attitude, and your execution. It's a simple acronym that I call MAX,
Okay.
and it stands for exactly that. So your mindset, you want to develop a growth mindset.
Yeah.
So you want to take the opportunity to make sure that you're only feeding yourself positive things, because your mind can't decipher between what's real and what's fake. This is why we
Okay.
get scared at scary movies. Like
Right.
honestly,
Okay.
when we think about that, what are you feeding yourself? Because like I said earlier, what we feed our minds is just as important as what we feed our bodies. The
Yeah.
conversations, the images,
Okay.
the words, the ideas, they all shape our lives. So you want to make sure that you're investing the time and opportunity to look at things that are beneficial for your mind. I always
Okay.
tell people that having a sense of humor is always a great way to declutter yourself from any stress that you might deal with. It's a
Yeah.
healthy way. Also, just working out, getting in that physical realm, because it releases that happy hormone called endorphins. So it
Yeah.
also provides oxygen to the brain to help you think better. And then when you think about your attitude, now one way I always tell people to think about is having an attitude of gratitude. Like,
Okay.
gratitude decreases, also the signs of depression. Now,
Yeah.
all these things I'm talking about are the stresses and the depression are, big killers in just the world today, period. That
Yeah.
it's a silent killer at that. But having an attitude of gratitude, being grateful for the things that you have, being grateful for the opportunity to experience another day of life. These are
Mm.
things that's more beneficial for you as far as carrying on. And then
Mm.
I always say execution, because actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the execution, you're eliminating excuses. So all these things that you're able to do will help you to develop that mental toughness, that grit, that fortitude.
Yeah.
I always say an attitude of gratitude increases your fortitude. But one way, some other ways that people can develop resilience is also just looking at the circle they're in, looking at the environment, the people they're around, in order to prevent them from just being in those certain circumstances or situations that they deal with on a common basis. And then
Okay.
also three ways. Another way is the three R's: to recognize, reflect, recognize, and release.
Okay.
Reflect on the things that you're going through currently. Recognize what your triggers are dealing with those things, and release it and let it go.
Okay. Wow. That, yeah. And mental toughness, that is something which, we can all train our minds to be, because so many of us, we just let, you know, small talk, gossip enter our heads, and, people get so wound up by just the littlest things. And I know mental toughness is just not letting just, little things get to you so much. And so many people do. I see it all around. And I suppose you just reminded me of David Goggins, because he's very much into mental toughness. And I don't know if you probably know David Goggins.
Yes,
Don't you?
yes. Can't hurt me. I read the book. I
Oh,
thought it
yeah.
was a phenomenal book. Kind of inspired me with some of the things that
Yeah.
I have written so far. And
Yeah.
I think that mental toughness, that fortitude that he has is just astounding. I think it's off the charts.
It is. It's amazing. And it's just about just, living your life with purpose, with intent, with gratitude, and just, living to your higher purpose, and just, not letting little things get to us, and not getting wound up by silly things. And I know, with COVID and the pandemic, it's really tested a lot of people. Do you find that with yourself? Was it a time, I know you did say that it was a time of growth for you, an opportunity, but do you find it's helped you to kind of have the pandemic in a weird
Uh,
way?
I found the pandemic to be very beneficial. I'll
Mm.
be honest with you. And I say that because um, I transitioned during the time of the pandemic from the military. So I went from this state of financial hardship, financial security, because in the military, you get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month.
Oh,
And
okay.
so now I was receiving a pay cut. Not
Yeah.
only that, but the world stopped just in general.
Yeah.
Jobs were scarce. Nobody was hiring just due to the fact they wanted to minimize
Yeah.
the spread of COVID. So it was difficult for me to find employment. Then also my wife, who was employed as a mental health associate, she got relieved of her job due to downsizing due to the pandemic. So we were both out of work. So financially, it was rough. And I dealt with a lot of anxiety and depression. But it goes back to that attitude that I said, dealing with gratitude, because as I started to realize some of the things that I was experiencing, I had the opportunity to spend time with my family. I had the opportunity to reconnect in my relationship. I had the opportunity to discover myself, because I had been in the military for so long, 21 years, you kind of lose yourself. And so I had an opportunity to rediscover who Sylvester was. And it was a whole new person from who I knew 20 years ago.
Wow. It's, I guess you're like uncovering the layers, because you're right. I guess you're just taught to be obedient in the army, right?
Right.
Following
Absolutely.
orders. And it's like, you know, who are you? Where's your personality?
Right.
And I know, so my other half's actually ex-veteran as well. He spent 15 years in it. So yeah, so this is what I'm very familiar with yourselves. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's been an interesting relationship. And also the fact that I love the fact that you did a degree in the science of organizational leadership. What is it? So what do you think makes an effective leader, and what were your kind of key skills that you learned from this degree?
So I feel that all leaders should have several attributes, and that's effective communication, servant leadership, self-leadership, motivation, goal setting, also emotional intelligence, and just what's the other one? Oh man, came to a complete halt then.
It's okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, but I feel that all leaders should have these, and I say emotional intelligence mainly because we didn't all grow up in the same background.
Yeah.
So you have to have a true sense of empathy in order to make sure that you're able to connect with the individuals that are in your team. And then servant leadership, like nobody gets better unless you invest in yourself. It's just like when you're riding on an airplane, like they always tell you to don your mask before you help somebody else don theirs. So whenever you're in these leadership positions, you always have to continue to take that opportunity to invest in yourself as a leader in order to empower others. I feel that the number one responsibility of leaders is to turn followers into leaders.
Okay. Wow. Powerful. Powerful. So when did you actually do this degree? When did you have time to?
So I was burning a lot of midnight oil.
Yeah. I can imagine.
I was burning a lot of midnight oil. When my kids bed down at night, or when my wife bed down at night, I was just on the computer roughly till about midnight every night, 9 to midnight, 7 days a week.
There you go. And that's resilience.
Yeah.
Resilience all over. Wow, this is pretty extraordinary. So tell us about, what you're doing today. Obviously you're speaking and, you're writing books, and how else are you actually helping people?
Yes. So what I currently do, dealing with my degree, my background and everything else, I help millennial managers overcome burnout and become resilient leaders that try to succeed, not only in their personal life, but their professional life as well.
Wow. Okay. Burnout. It comes up so much at the moment. And I think it's because people are just so busy being busy, because everybody just wants to achieve. And you see it all over social media now, where people are trying to get out of their 9 to 5 job so that they can go and start something of their own. But even that, it's so, they're working 9 to 5, having to maybe come home and sort out their kids, and then obviously their own work starts at 8 p.m. and then, like yourself, probably finishes at midnight or 1 a.m. So yeah, burnout, here we come.
Right, absolutely. When you think about like organization nowadays, the pandemic shed light on a lot of things that we're able to do that we just wasn't doing. And some of the things that a lot of these organizations wasn't doing was investing in the person. It wasn't bringing value to the individuals that were working for them. they wasn't helping them to grow in any type of way. So I've been able to go in and speak with a lot of organizations in order to help them prevail in those situations. What I've noticed is that a lot of the millennial managers that you spoke on dealing with the situation of their personal life and professional life, due to a lot of the employees that they have under them have resigned. They totally just quit their job. Just
Wow.
because of the pandemic, the pay,
Yeah.
it's not, you're not giving me anything, you're not providing me any type of, sense of growth in the organization. So I'm gonna just quit. And now the manager have to play double roles. Not only
Right.
do I have to still be the manager, but I got to cover down for this employee who is not here. Then I got to go home and I got to deal with my family,
Oh
wife,
boy.
kid, uh, or husband, whatever it might be. I got to deal with all these circumstances, and it get to a point where you just get burnt out doing those things.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. I never saw it from that point of view, from an actual manager's point of view. Yeah, I totally get that. But I suppose that this is why now, I mean, I know Europe's very big on it. They're offering flexi hours, they're giving 2-hour lunch breaks.
Yeah.
And like England are probably cottoning on now to just having 4-day work weeks. So I
Right.
think things are changing. I don't know what it's like in the States right now.
Well, you got some organizations that are following along with what you just said, and then you got some that are not. And
Right.
the ones that are not are suffering productively. And
Right.
that's where they're looking for the change. And that's where I come into play, because I'm like,
Nice.
hey, you need to value your employees. If you want them to work for you, it's not
Yeah.
about the pay for most people. It's about the value that you bring to
Yeah.
them. And as
It
long as you're
is.
putting them first, they'll continue to work for you regardless of what you're paying them.
So true. It's so true. And I know that, back in the days, pay was everything, but these days it's not. It's more about quality of life, I'm
Right.
finding. So many people, they just want to make sure that they're not so stressed when they get home from work so that they can spend time with their kids.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that people are finally realizing that life's not all work, you know?
Yeah.
So tell us about your plans for the future.
So my plans for the future, I'm just mostly looking into, me and my wife, we just started going into real estate. So that's something new
Nice.
for us. But also just continuing to just help others. I believe in
Yeah.
a word or acronym called HOPE. Like I
Yeah.
provide hope to everyone. That's help one person every day. So I look to, prior to me transpiring, to look to help one person each and every day, some type of way, some type of capacity, and just continue to write books in some way to help others.
Oh, that is beautiful. Seriously, I really honor the work that you're doing, and I really honor your life story and where you've come from and where you are today. And I just feel that absolutely you've got the whole universe to be grateful for, like we all have. And I think we all need to start being more grateful. And that's something, that's one of my rituals, is I start the day just
Yes.
thanking the universe, thanking the Lord, thanking God, for everything that I've gone through to make me who I am today.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
yeah, so rituals, do you have like a daily ritual that you go by?
Yes, so I do have a daily ritual. My day starts at 4:30 in the morning. So
Wow, okay.
yeah, I start at 4:30 in the morning. Of course, personal hygiene, but then at the same time, I go into like daily devotional prayer, and
Oh,
then I go from
nice.
there to just being grateful behind the things that I received. That roughly take about 30 minutes of my time, and
Oh,
then I go and
wow.
work out for an hour. So once I come back from work an
That's
hour,
brilliant.
I dive in deep into more of a mental knowledge, reading books for about 30 minutes of the day, and then
Yeah,
go into the motions of just working on entrepreneurship as far as activities dealing with that.
yeah.
All these things roughly take me about 2 hours.
Okay. And then you, what time do you go to sleep?
Uh, Now that's a whole nother story. As far as sleep goes, I get that time in with my kids roughly till about 9:30. And then,
Okay.
me and my wife, we try to take some time for ourselves once we bed the kids down, have conversation, dialogue throughout that time. And then I say roughly about 10.
Yeah. The only reason I ask is because like I remember a few years ago I was listening to a lot of these personal development coaches saying, yeah, you only need 4 hours of sleep a
No,
night. No, not at all. And I
no,
was thinking, no, I need my 8 hours.
right,
Yeah.
right.
God, we need our sleep, right? That's how we
Yeah,
repair all our cells and,
yes.
recover. Oh my goodness, sleep deprivation is the worst. Wow. So amazing. We are nearing the end of our show. So I just wanted to kind of ask you just some quick questions really about, number one is, what's your biggest regret to date?
My biggest regret, I don't have no biggest regret.
I love that. Love that.
I will be honest with you. I think everything that I experienced in life made me who I am today. All the hardships, the struggles, the sacrifices, and failure, I think they molded me into who I am. They gave me the
Brilliant.
drive. They gave me the keep going.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And I also wanted to ask you, what has been like your greatest lesson to date?
Oh, my greatest lesson is that I'm my own biggest enemy.
Okay. Wow. And that's what you said about the fact,
The
it's our
mind.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah, because your mind
Mm,
can be an asset or a liability, and majority of the time, the fear that we experience in life is by our imagination, because it
yeah.
doesn't mean that it's going to go that way. It's just some thought that we have in our mind that that's how it's going to go. So we create
Yeah.
these stories. We
We,
create these
yeah.
stories to the point that it prevents us and brings us to a complete hope with what we can do with our lives. So I'm my own biggest enemy.
Love that. Basically, life is your oyster. It's limitless. You can do whatever you like. You have to
Absolutely.
believe in yourself, right?
That's it.
Yeah. Get rid of those limited beliefs. It's not easy, but we can all do it.
Yes.
And I guess the last question is, what is your key takeaway message for my listeners today?
So my key takeaway message for all your listeners is that regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what you're experiencing, if you experience some type of hardship within your life, that chapter of your life doesn't define your story.
Mm,
If you're a broken crayon, that you can still color. That regardless of whatever it is that you want to achieve in life, all you have to do is just have the right mindset, a winning attitude, and take action.
love that. Thank you. Thank you. So where can my listeners find you if they want to purchase your books or get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So they can easily go on SylvesterJenkins.com, and you can find my books. You can find a little more about me, and you can also receive a free ebook on 9 ways to develop mental toughness.
Excellent. Okay, I didn't know about that. Right, I'm signing up for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on that note, we are going to have to end the show. So again, thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your amazing insights, your knowledge, your expertise, and your teachings with myself and my listeners. And I know that everyone's going to be so inspired listening to you. Just the work that you're doing is marvelous, and continue doing it. Keep changing the world.
Thank you so much for the opportunity and the time to be on your platform. I know you will do the same thing. I wish you much continued success.
Thank you so much. Well, my friends, I hope you all enjoyed this show. And again, please do get in touch with myself and Sylvester if you have any burning questions. We're here to serve and we're here to help you. We love you all. I will see you in the next episode. Until then, take care and stay blessed. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Victim to Victor. Subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes, and be sure to follow the podcast on socials to keep updated on what's next, and share Victim to Victor with family and friends to help grow the community and spread the positive healing energy. You may also wish to join me on the path to self-discovery and sign up to my 12-week self-empowerment plan, which will be linked below.